Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about something really important, especially if you're someone who receives Social Security or is planning to in the near future. There's a big shift coming, and while it might seem like good news at first, it's not exactly what it looks like on the surface. So let's break it down. A major development is unfolding for future Social Security recipients, and it might just feel like a big gift is being handed out. But here's the twist. It's not your typical gift wrapped in a bow. It's political, economic, and strategic all at once. With the 2026 cost of living adjustment, COLA, on the horizon, there's a lot of chatter about what it's going to look like, and more importantly, who's going to benefit from it politically. It seems like former President Trump might be the one to gain the upper hand here, even as he deals with things like tariffs and global economic pressure. According to early estimates, the COLA for Social Security in 2026 could be 2.4%. On the surface, that might not sound like a lot. But here's the truth. When it comes to COLA, a lower percentage is actually better for recipients. That might sound backwards, so let me explain. If you see a COLA of 8% or even 10%, that actually means prices have increased a lot. So yes, your benefits rise, but your buying power has already taken a hit. You're being compensated for inflation that already happened, and usually not fully. On the other hand, a smaller COLA, like 1% or 2.4%, means inflation is more under control, and your money holds more value going into the next year. So why is Trump being associated with this gift? Well, here's where it gets political. Trump is currently navigating several trade and tariff negotiations, especially with China. If he's able to stabilize or even resolve these economic issues by the time the crucial 3-month COLA calculation window arrives, which is July, August, and September of 2025, the result could be a very modest increase in the cost of living adjustment. And remember, COLA isn't calculated based on the full year. It's based only on those 3 months, Q3. So even if the economy has been rocky before that, the numbers from that window are what ultimately determine the adjustment for 2026. A recent USA Today article cited inflation figures showing that consumer prices increased just 2.3% year over year, the smallest annual rise since early 2021. And the subset of inflation used for COLA, the CPIW, rose just 2.1% in the latest month. If that trend continues through the summer, the 2026 COLA could stay low. Some might say, well, didn't Biden already have a good year for Social Security increases? And yes, under Biden, we did see increases like 2.5% and even as high as 8.7% in a previous year. But remember, that was coming out of the pandemic, when inflation was soaring, supply chains were broken, and prices were rising sharply. Those adjustments looked generous, but in reality, they were just trying to catch up to the economic damage that had already been done. And here's where the analysis gets interesting. Under Trump, if inflation stays down, thanks to tariffs being lifted or renegotiated and global prices calming, then retirees could see a smaller COLA, but a stronger dollar in practice. That means more purchasing power, not just more dollars. Let's bring in a few expert opinions. Mary Johnson, a respected analyst on Social Security and Medicare, pointed out that while the estimate is currently around 2.4%, it might even be too low if economic conditions improve. But she also noted that Trump's tariffs, while controversial, are only now starting to show their full impact on prices. There's still a possibility that if trade relations worsen, we could see inflation tick back up. But if Trump can settle these negotiations, even partially, during the July to September window, it could solidify this lower COLA estimate, which again benefits recipients in the long run. Let me give you an example. If the COLA ends up being 2.4%, the average Social Security check, which is currently around $1,999 per month, would go up by about $48 in January. Compare that to the 2.5% increase from earlier this year, which raised checks by around $50. Not a huge change, but again, if inflation stays low, that $48 will stretch further. Now let's address the elephant in the room, uncertainty. According to economists like Mike Reed from the Royal Bank of Canada, there's still a lot we don't know. Even if tariffs are dropped today, the inflationary effects might linger for a few months. And global markets don't always react predictably. Also, let's be real. This is an election year. Both parties are trying to spin the narrative in their favor. Left-leaning outlets may criticize Trump's tariff approach, while right-leaning ones will say he's cleaning up Biden's mess. But the truth, as usual, is somewhere in the middle. What matters most is how this all impacts you, the Social Security recipient. Whether you're already collecting or will be in a few years, what you should really focus on is this. A lower COLA percentage generally means your dollar is stronger. It means inflation is lower, prices are more stable, and your retirement income holds up better. So yes, while Trump may get credit or blame for the next COLA rate, the real win is if inflation stays controlled, global trade stabilizes, and retirees don't have to fight rising prices just to get by. You could call it a gift, but it's not wrapped in shiny paper. It's wrapped in policy, global negotiations, inflation charts, and political chess. Let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think a 2.4% COLA is enough? Would you rather have a higher COLA with higher inflation or a lower one with better buying power? If you found this breakdown helpful, give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more updates on Social Security, economics, and retirement planning. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.